All right, today is February the 4th in 2025, and my guests are Ivan Morgunov and Anna Vakhrusheva. Ivan and Anna are the CEO and CTO of Unlimited Bio, a biotech company building a rejuvenation cocktail with gene therapies. Anna, did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah.
No? Good. You can edit that. Unlimited Bio was started during our last pop-up city here in Prospera, and they're with us now again at Infinita City. Ivan and Anna are taking the opportunity of a new approach to building a biotech company by using the Prospera regulatory flexibility, which will be a big topic of today's conversation, as well as scientific and technological innovation that Ivan and Anna are working on. So we're very excited to have them here today. Welcome, Ivan and Anna.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you, Nicole.
So can you please tell us a bit about your background? How did you end up doing what you do now? And whoever wants to start.
Yeah, sure. I can start. Yeah, I'm a 100% mission-driven person, and I want to contribute to solving aging during our lifetime. So originally I was from high tech, and I have some entrepreneurial background. But I got involved in longevity biotech a few years ago. And since then, I've been involved in funding multiple longevity biotechs, and I have been working on R&D for age-related diseases and things like that. And I realized that one of the biggest bottleneck for progressing the longevity is overregulation. That's why I got inspired by Prospera. All the things that happened there, and then a year ago, I started another company, Unlimited, which I believe can make a difference.
Okay. So from my side, I could say that like from my school years, I was captivated by this aging process, by genomics and different genetic anomalies. And that's why I've decided to go into science rather than medicine, focusing on developing different therapies. So I've obtained my bachelor degree in biochemistry, after this, like my master's degree in molecular biotechnology. So I've actually got this hands-on experience in different biological tools and different methods. And after obtaining my PhD degree in bioengineering, I've joined the biotech company in Russia, and also co-founded my first company that's called Biotech. So we've developed the COVID vaccine, and it was very invaluable experience for me because we did it just within 2 years. And it's a remarkable pace for biotech because like usually drug development in biotech takes around 10 years. So yeah, it was like great experience for me to understand how to develop therapies fast and quickly. And following this, I've continued working on development of different therapies targeting age-related diseases, oncology, and even allergy. For example, currently in my another company, we are developing like the first kind of therapy to treat allergy against cats. So, but yeah, my main mission anyway was to develop these anti-aging therapies, and I think that my like truly and radical journey into longevity started with the emergence of Unlimited Bio, because it's really a very unique opportunity, and the company that has so unique characteristics and potentials that we could accomplish in the future.
Great. And so both of you are now into longevity and radical life extension. And if I'm not mistaken, both of you grew up in Russia, right? So I'm curious, how do you kind of get on that journey growing up in Russia? And I'm asking because, in Germany, where I grew up, nobody would be familiar with it. And how I'm experiencing kind of the longevity scene or movement is quite international, right? So I had to like really look for it in different places by becoming kind of a nomad, and then by looking into different areas of technology in Bay Area, I guess, a bit rather. So what was your journey like growing up in Russia to find your way to longevity?
Yeah, maybe we should start from because original longevity started out of Russia.
International,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I would say that like a lot of people actually are involved into the transhumanist movements in Russia, and we have quite wide and people who were involved and are involved into this longevity movement. Yeah, maybe partly we have this from the philosophic point of view, when like some Russian philosophers, like not like even Soviet philosophers evolved this idea of cosmism and some transhumanisms. So partly maybe it came from the Soviet Union, and yeah, Russian science was developing a lot into this, and we know some like for example like Skulachov and some other Russian names that quite famous internationally. And yeah, it was interesting that when I was studying in my university, it wasn't like so many labs who were involved into the aging, even internationally. But at least we have like several in Moscow State University with the Skulachev's lab. So I think, yeah, from these different angles, we like somehow have this big community in Russia. And when I'm visiting conferences internationally, I encountered with many Russian people. So like this community is pretty big, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, I was born even not in Russia. I was born in Soviet Union, so yeah, I grew up in Russia, and yeah, like my first 25 years of my life I spent on like personal growth and trying to educate myself and getting university degrees and starting making some money. And but when I was 25. Back in 2013, I already have made some capital and I was able to move around. So I immigrated to Israel first. So I got my second citizenship, the Israeli, 10 years ago. And but I didn't stay much time in Israel. I started to like just travel around, and I traveled. I was traveling around a couple years around like Latin America and Africa, all these like third world countries, and just it was like my journey for meaning of life, like trying to understand what is the most valuable thing, what I would like to spend the rest of my life focusing on, what is really important. Yeah, I spent some time on thinking about it, and I just got to this idea. Probably it's what maybe Russia education in Russia and the culture somehow affected me. But I got to the idea that okay, we have back in 2014, I think that we have so much technologies all around. I didn't know much about like technologies, but I understood that I realized back then that okay, we have all this space travel, we have the cloning the ships, we like do all this like internet technologies, AI, whatever, and even back then. And why we still age and die from old age, if it's so important, life is so beautiful, and why we don't, why we, first of all, why we haven't solved it yet, and why we are not working hard on solving it. Yeah, I still, so this is how my journey started, and it was very slow in the beginning to contribute because you have to understand and make your own mistakes, right? So it took a while. I started to just like with a classical entrepreneurship, and I saw that I can just make money on building some companies and build my own lab as a like I don't know, just to support it somehow. But I ended up that I should. It's more efficient to get involved in the process by yourself and just take care about it like full time, and which is probably the most efficient way. So I decided to start helping people in the field, and just the first idea that I started that worked for me in the longevity space, that if I add some efficiency to myself, which was 0 back then, it's adding it's accelerating 0. So the best way is to find the people who are already at the age of contribution to the longevity, who are the leaders in the field, and just try to accelerate them and solve their problems. So I started talking to people, what are their bottlenecks, what's limiting them, and it's how I started my first longevity biotech company. It was just started as a research organization. We were working on with my scientific co-founder on some longevity bottlenecks that should be solved, such as extracellular matrix, because we believe that it's one of the biggest limitation of our lifespan. The change in the extracellular matrix, and we started few entities that's remodeling elastin tissue, collagen tissues, collagen fibers, and so Anna started to work with that company. It's how we met. But even to mention that, I started that company, I think already more than 3 years ago, and we still we have been done the really amazing research. We have been done really amazing discoveries, very important to the field, but it's already took for me few years, and I understand that we will need even few years more to be able to give it to a human. We don't have so much time, and this is a problem, but how things work now.
Okay, so you were iterating on the first company, you saw the problems firsthand. There's a lot of research you need to do, right? So to de-risk science. But then you discovered you kind of were aware that there are other bottlenecks, right? So maybe you can kind of give your analysis of the problem, right? Because you already mentioned that overregulation is a problem. But just to take a step back, right? So what prevents us from moving past it? Like a lot of people say, oh, we don't get enough funding, the public doesn't like it, we don't get a lot of attention. And there's also all these scientific things that are not de-risked, right? So right now we can't do it, right? Because we need to solve some of these fundamental problems. So what do you think is sort of what's your analysis of the problem right now?
Yeah, first of all, I think there are really multiple problems, and in all those people that mentioned all the different problems, they're right. They're no a true answer that this is not a problem and this is really real problem, but we should focus on acceleration, right? It's the only thing that we should to focus with this Pareto principle, where we can just 20% of the effort will give 80% of result, or super Pareto, where 4% of the effort will give 64% of the result. So we have to try to range the problems and focus on the most important and which will really can make a difference. So from my side, I know Anna has her opinion on that, but from my perspective, it's the first one is prevention or working on symptoms. So, for example, with cancer, we have to wait for a person to get the cancer, and after that, only we are able to give him we have to give him already some toxic chemotherapy to save him with some already smaller chance, 50%. It depends on the cancer type, right? Some cancer types have higher chances and some have the lower chances. So we already have to put poison in their body to save them. But wouldn't be more efficient to give to a healthy individual some treatment as a prevention, like we do with vaccine, but the same with cancer, that you stimulate his immune system to fight cancer more efficient way. It's the smartest way to do things, but we are not allowed to build this type of cancer prevention treatment within classical regulation. So we're not able to give a gene therapies to healthy individuals to prevent them from getting disease or some other type of therapies. I don't speak here about like some exercise or this type of prevention, like lifestyle intervention, but some more serious intervention. So the first problem is that we can't work with prevention at all, and it's much more difficult to solve problem when it already exists than to prevent it, to work with the risks.
And interrupt you, but that is because you have to have kind of a disease indication to be able to use the drug there, right? And so prevention is kind of before you have any indications of disease. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. So you have to you're able to give a drug only to a person who has the disease, right? And right.
Remarkable point, right? I don't think I've like had that on the podcast. He expressed that clearly, right? So we're not allowed to do kind of prevention outside of sort of the normal healthy lifestyle diet, right? Simply because, okay, like a prediction of someone developing a disease does not count, right? You can't get approval. You can only get it once they already have it.
Right. And we have to understand that it's much difficult to build a drug for a disease than for prevention, because like, and the drug that works for prevention not necessarily will be work for a disease, for the disease, because like, so we just limit our like range of percentage of drugs that we can build, and we cannot build all this like bunch of things that we can build for prevention. So it's the first limitation. The second, the first one of the biggest bottlenecks that really stops, that really limits our progress in the longevity field to increase our lifespan. The second thing is just like over cost and like time and cost efficiency or inefficiency, let's say, that it takes average like 10 to 12 years and like billions of dollars in the Western countries to get the drug to the market. Anna mentioned the case with vaccine. It was an exception that should work. It would be cool if they're starting to do all these things with the like all the type of prevention treatment. Maybe we will get there someday. But even Anna, she said 2 years for a COVID vaccine, and it's still long time, and you need much money. So we end up when it's so expensive to build a drug, we end up that we just get 50 drugs approved annually in the US, and it's mostly a drug for some rare diseases. We don't really have a drug, something new for Alzheimer's or atherosclerosis and things like that are killing like hundreds of thousands of people. So the second one is like just like the cost and timing to bring the drug to the market. And the third one is that we are not allowed to combine things. I think that the longevity field, they just walk circuits over the same trails, trying to do single drug approaches, like tackle one single process or one single hallmark. And it's like, like to solve aging, we needed to play a melody, beautiful melody. And people try to push 1K on the piano and expect a melody. And they say, okay, this K button doesn't work for melody. Let's try another one. Okay, it doesn't work. Let's try another one. But it not work separately. We have to combine multiple things. And I believe that the first solution, the real solution in the aging field will combine like dozens of therapies. And it's not like supplements, like 50 supplements. It's dozens of gene therapies or like drugs or small molecules and things like that combined. That will make a difference. And of course, we are not like, again, because of its within plus regulation, we can't combine, and the cost, of course, because if it gets for you to get one drug or one gene therapy to the market for billions of dollars, what we can say about bringing like 10 gene therapies combined to the market, it will like cost like.
Is it so you can get a drug or therapy only approved for a single indication, right? The FDA. And tend you then sort of combine 10 different therapies? Do you like, is that not possible?
It is limited because it's very difficult to elucidate from which therapy you got this effect, and for regulatory frameworks like for this FDA and other regulators, it's very crucial to understand from which therapy you got this effect, that it was safe, and so on. Sometimes, for example, for oncology, they could combine different combinations of oncology drugs, because like we have like the first line of therapy, the second line, the third line of therapies, but it's like not the same as when we are talking about the aging approach.
Right, and also with Anna mentioned cancer, it's a good example that when they combine things, and I don't say that it's not exist in the classical regulation. Also, we have an example for prevention drugs such as rapamycin. When it got approved for a disease, not a disease, it's just when people they get organ transplant, it's to suppress the immune system, and it got approved. And now many doctors around US and like other countries, they just subscribe it off-label. So it still exists, but it's just one drug that we have, and it was with metformin before, but now more people they just got, they're not that interested in metformin anymore. But it still works. I mean, like, I don't say that the classical regulatory system, it will get us one day to solve the aging. For sure, we move there slowly. I just want to move faster because while my parents are still alive, right? So.
Yeah, maybe if you're talking about bottlenecks, I would add from my side that Ivan said that aging is actually a complex and multifactorial process. So we need this combinatorial approach. But another thing that we have actually lack of reliable biomarkers, because in order to validate and optimize therapies, we need these good biomarkers from which we could actually understand how our therapy works. And it's a huge problem because, for example, like epigenetics clocks is not a good biomarker. It has so wide range of results, so it just can't work with this, and it doesn't correlate with clinical outcomes. So I think that biomarkers is another thing that slows the progress. And another one that I've encountered when I've started working in Unlimited Bio, it's the recruitment problem, because longevity therapies target healthy participants, because we don't treat diseases, we prevent aging, and it happens that it's very difficult to enroll healthy participants for these clinical studies. And I could maybe elaborate for several reasons. The first one, that these people are healthy and they hesitate to take additional risks. So they don't have this life-threatening disease. Of course, aging is life-threatening disease, but it's on a long distance. And we don't have the situation where this life-threatening disease is happening this day or next day. And for most of people, aging is something very distant. And that's why they don't view it as that they need to come and buy this longevity treatment. And actually, as absurd as it may sound, that we actually don't have this market for longevity therapies, because people might think that they need these longevity therapies. But when we are speaking about gene therapies, not supplements or lifestyle interventions, they don't, and they don't administer them because they just don't understand that it's happening right now. And of course, it should take some additional risks to start this clinical data. But we need to accelerate, we need to conduct these clinical trials in order to collect data and start optimizing our therapy. So this is how it would work.
And I'm curious also, Anna, because you said you worked on the COVID vaccine development in Russia, right? So how did that go, right? And what can you say kind of about the process, how to get therapy or vaccine market here in Roatán?
Yeah, so for COVID vaccine, it was kind of exception. So from the regulatory side, it was an exception that we could register the drug after the phase 2 of clinical trials, because in a classical way, we need to conduct the 3 phases of clinical trials, and after this, our drug would be registered and we can start to sell it. So yeah, like it was a pandemic, and all companies, all industries were working very fast on this emerging and creating these new vaccines and medicines against COVID. So yeah, their like R&D part took around half of the year, maybe the preclinical trials around half of the year, and we've combined. We did combined phase 1 and 2. It also took around 1 year, so completely it was something like this.
Yeah. I'm most curious. So let's talk about another issue that I learned about through you guys, which is the manufacturing costs for gene therapy, right? So what are the problems there?
Like the manufacturing costs for gene therapies, if we are talking about this, are still far away from being inexpensive. And yeah, we're like in the real situation when the cost of these therapies is high. And I suppose because when we are talking about not for R&D purposes, but for clinical purposes and for administering these drugs to humans, we need somehow large scale manufacturing capabilities, and we need some quality control. So it's all of this is still not so cheap, and R&D part requires a lot of investing and a lot of money. So that's why, at the current stage, this therapy, I believe, won't cost very cheap. But in the future, so the cost could be decreased. And also, I would add that it depends a lot on the dosages of these gene therapies, because it means a lot. And for healthy individuals, these dosages could be less. But to understand this and validate this, we need to conduct clinical trials and to start understand and collecting this data. So again, everything encounters with this collecting data. Yeah, maybe Ivan would elaborate on this.
Yeah. Well, just
say what I learned so far, and then you comment on it or clarify. Right. So what I learned is that manufacturing is very important. In fact, so gene therapies, that's where most of the risk is actually coming. Right. So having good quality manufacturing is important. And so one common standard for this is GMP. Good manufacturing practice.
Bless you.
Thank you. But for a certain kind of gene therapies, that simply, and especially when you're at an earlier small stage, just simply makes things very expensive. And sometimes you can achieve the same kind of safety just with a different approach to testing, right? So wonder if you want to comment on that.
Yeah, actually, manufacturing costs in the USA and Russia are very different. So if we are talking even about GMP standard batches. So for example, for unlimited bio, we are going to use another manufacturing capabilities, and that's why we think that the price would be lower in comparison with the USA market. But at least it won't be maybe so low and so accessible for everyone yet.
Yeah, I think we haven't been involved in building manufacturing by ourselves. Anna have been involved in building manufacturing for the COVID vaccine. They have some manufacturing, but me personally, I haven't been involved. But what I know from the people from the field that, for example, it's cost additional to you to build some GMP manufacturing comparing with GMP-like manufacturing, and it doesn't make any sense in case of gene therapies. If we speak about small molecules, the GMP plays a significant role. But when you speak about gene therapies, you can just easily check it with a good quality or not a good quality, and that thing. I'm not sure maybe Anna could comment on it, but it's understood from the people from the field who even we have been discussing it here in Prospera, and we were considering to build some manufacturing here. Another point that Anna mentioned, and it's very interesting, that we want to work with the contract organizations to build the AAV for us, the gene therapies, and maybe in the future CMV, cytomegalovirus gene therapies. And when we ask the prices for the same product in the US and in Russia, it's just, I don't know, 5-fold difference. And you may say, okay, maybe it's a different quality. But after, what we would like to do, we just take it from Russia and we will send it to the laboratory in the US and ask them to check the quality. It would be as a part of each batch that we order from Russia. But I know that Anna have been involved in multiple preclinical gene therapy development there in Russia, and they already ordered multiple these constructs, and it's worked quite well. So we don't see much difference, but it's still because the labor cost or whatever. I don't know how it works, but it's just so much cheaper. And who pays for that? Like in the US, like American Fitness, they pay for the price for they pay for the insurance, they pay taxes, and they just got it so high prices for the gene therapies, like $2 million, like for Zolgensma, and now $4 million for some other type of thing. I think if the gene therapy costs you $4 million, we calculated to build AV manufacturing here that would produce 1-2 doses per month. This gene therapy for $4 million that cost for $4 million. We calculated to build a chair in this building. That's all we are now with a nice view and whatever. And it would cost us $2 million to build the facility, to build the clinic within it. It's included, and 1 year of personnel, only $2 million total. So, and we'll be able to produce and administer here 2 gene therapies per month. That's cost $4 million in the US and Europe. So,
regarding GMP, maybe I could add that GMP manufacturing would have sense for when we have massive production of the drugs, because it's a very large scale, and we need to strictly control everything. So, but in case of longevity therapies that we see currently as more personalized and individual therapies, because not so many people are involved in this yet. So we could actually strictly control the usual batch of gene therapies without GMP, but we additionally just check the quality control. And from this perspective, it seems that maybe, and we don't need this GMP manufacturing capabilities, because we don't make this massive production. We do just several dozens of therapies per, I don't know, maybe quarter. And by this we could just very sophisticated to check the quality and give them administer to the people.
So that's very important nuance, right? So GMP is a system that works for small molecules at a large scale. It's good, right? So whenever we're saying, hey, maybe it doesn't work, or it's a new gene therapy, it doesn't mean we should have quality. Right? It just means that, hey, we need to see if there's an approach to do this at a smaller scale, right? With the same kind of safety, right? So it's I think why the Prospera regulatory system is deciding, because it allows for the still need a third party in Ashura look into that while, right? So maybe we can maybe start by by you going through that process, starting with how you ended up here in Prospera and how the journey has since been like how also like the process is practiced for someone who's listening who might want to do something similar to this working in biotech. Hey, how is patient, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I got inspired. Initially, I got inspired by a municipal documentary that's about Prospera, when just a group of people gathered together here on Roatán, and with the one goal to run a clinical trial of a gene therapy that for human enhancement that haven't been done before them through all the human history. So it just was the first case in the history for clinical trial for real human enhancement, not with lifestyle practices or supplement, but with gene therapy. So yeah, and we saw that there was Vitalia happening, and like 2 months opportunity to come here and explore. We actually ended up staying 3 months, but so we came here with Anna. We wasn't planning to start a company here. We came just to explore and to learn how things work, because I start things very carefully, and I think a lot, and I just don't do very fast crazy steps. So we just came to explore and talk to people, see how things work. First of all, Vitalia is in Infinita now, the same. I think it's the incredible environment that really helped us a lot, and I want to say thank you to Niklas for organizing it, because it's really, without it, I wouldn't start the company, because it's not just coming here and visiting Prospera. It's just getting to the environment where you're surrounded by people who do things here, who experience, and you. So, just in the just few days, I met everyone and asked them all the stupid questions that I had in my head about regulation, and so I got pretty clear pictures and connection just within just 1 or 2 weeks. How things work here, because you get a lawyer who works here, Christian, and he answers all your questions if needed. You take Tristan Robert, who was involved in Minicircle, and he answers all the questions. We went with Tristan, we went to Gaern, and where he got some experimental treatment for preventing him from getting cavity. After that, I met another guy, Boyan, he got also inspired by that, and he bought the Minicircle gene therapy. So we traveled. We asked him, okay, can we go to Gaern with you and see how you administer the gene therapy? But, yeah, sure. So me and Dana, we traveled with him to the Gaern and just actually saw how he got the gene therapy. So we were able to got all this information quite fast, and get from practical side. And I think the important thing that, okay, we met investors here, we met partners here, we met the advisors here, because you not just meet people, you build connections, because you spend time with them, you go to the lab night, you go to the, snorkeling, you just, you spend time for, having a breakfast. You build really strong connection with people, and it's also very important to building long-term relationship and companies. And so, so after understanding how things work, with Anna, we decided to start the company, Unlimited Bio. I think it was a year ago. So by end of January, beginning of February. So we started to accumulate the team, some other partners that we needed, and advisors. So we signed Tristan Robert as an advisor, because he was involved in the development of all this development with Minicircle. So he got the experience of the cell gene therapy on the island. And we signed Adam Grease, who founder of Vitalism, that he has all this marketing and product marketing and entrepreneurial experience from his previous startups, and he well connected in the field. We signed some doctor also to the team, because we are not MDs, and some other scientists from the longevity field, also quite well known. And Anna came with the idea that, okay, we got how the environment works, but we wanted to check it, like to build the MVP, right? So to see if we really mini circle did it, but when will we be able to start another gene therapy here? So the idea was to start something fast and simple. So Anna came with the idea to start with VEGF gene therapy. It's also plasmid. That the same. It's also plasmid as the mini circle diet. So we want to start with something safe and that we could just start quickly. And so Anna came with the idea that we should license it from a Russian company. So the same company that Anna works on other project with the COVID vaccine. So she said that we should just license it from them and bring here for repurposing. That gene therapy existed then in Russia for lower limb ischemia. It's a disease, so it's got approved for disease. But we know that vascular endothelial growth factor gene, it's very crucial for the aging process. So we want to use it for prevention as a gene therapy. So we licensed it from Russian company and for exclusive license for Latin America and broke it here where we can do it for preventive indications. So to start a company in Prospera, I'm telling you the both sides, right? The story and the technical part that you asked to do. So yeah, to start the company, to register it, it's very simple. We just need 1 day and it's very fast. And the biggest issue there is to start, if you work with crypto, it's fine. You don't need a bank account. But if you want to work with the banks and you need to make some payments internationally, so you have to open a bank account. I know that there are a few banks in Honduras that work with Prospera, but as I heard that they're not that nice. And the best one that we have is Tower Bank. It's in Panama. So it took for us like a couple months to pass the KYC process, and they're very slow. So this is bottom line. I know some people want to open a bank in Prospera, so I look forward to it.
Bank is a pain. Banking is a pain. And there are banks working with us. And there's a new bank that I'm trying out right now. It's called a rival bank. It has very painful information. The whole bank, but it has an overlay like.
Cool. Yeah, but I think in the beginning it was an issue. Now it's fine. Tower Bank, they're still okay. They gave us like the credit card that we can use. They're still very they fine. Like it's okay now. After we part with Kirit, it just took a time, not that like couple months. It's time. But yeah, we are crypto friendly. It's cool. I've just learned recently that you can open a Tower Bank a crypto account and you can just move money between the accounts. So, for example, if you get a good investor who wants to invest in crypto, you can accept crypto, but after that, with 2% fee, you can move it between the classical bank account and crypto, two-way.
Check it out.
Yeah. So and it's both in two locations, two directions. So we haven't tried it yet, but we will. We're preparing some documents for that, just to have this opportunity, to balance between crypto and cash, and it could be helpful for people who work with crypto. So it's cool. So it's not okay. So it's with the bank account. After that, after Vitaly Accelerator, we traveled to Russia, met that company, and they got all these agreements with them, and it was not that long. And after that, we signed the agreement with them. In parallel, we was working on approval here to get approved, and regarding the approval.
So yeah, here Próspera is that we have medical Próspera, right? The licensing
Yeah, sure. So yeah, this gene therapy was approved in Russia, so it's not that easy as it would be approved in some other part of the world, like Europe or the US, but it still worked for us because this gene therapy was approved back in 2011 and has the bunch of like post-market clinical data. More than 10,000 people has taken it. So but originally, so you have to, like, if you go for a regulation here, like if you want to get approval for a drug, so you can, you have to choose. You can use any regulation that exists in OECD countries, like, so, and Russia not a part of OECD. Is it right? OECD? Do you know, like, yeah. So Russia is not part of that, so we wasn't able to apply that. But all the, like, so if some regulation works in, let's say, Japan, you can just say, hey, it works in Japan, I will use it here in Prospera. So immediately. The second option that you can, the people have built here some regulation, and you can apply those regulations. So back then there were only 2 regulations that I'm not sure if there are some new ones since then. So it was mini circle regulation and GARM regulation. So to get approval for a clinical trial here, you need for mini circle you need just the 2 things: insurance and informed consent. And with GARM you need insurance, informed consent, and IRB approval. So insurance is the most probably difficult one, because here is only insurance company that's owned by Prospera, and they still really doing a great job. I really like the way of doing things, but they kind of supervise you and not to do crazy things here. And it's also cool. It's what we want. So it takes some time with them, but as soon as they give you insurance, you just write simple informed consent to keep your patients informed. For sure, it's even like ethical thing, right? And the third, but we choose GARM regulation, not even before, because the GARM is our clinical partner environment, just because we wanted to extra check from IRB. And if it's GARM, it's just a board of people who, some of them ex-FDA people even, like, who just, supervise the things that you do, just to double check that everything is fine. So it's always better to double check. And we signed the agreement with the GARM because they have been in the market of the experimental therapies here in the island for 15 years. It's led by Blinteri, ex-acquisition PS Olympic team. So we know that they are very experienced, and so we signed agreement with them to administer our gene therapy. And it was fast. It was like during Italia, we built connection, went to the restaurant with them, right? We visited the clinic a couple times. It helped. So, and we got approval for a clinical trial for the first indication in July. So the company was started in April. We just founded this Prospera entity. And we started to work on it in January, February, actually, but officially we started the company in April, and we got approval for the first indication in July. And starting from that, the biggest bottleneck for us was logistics. So, overregulation is solved, kind of thing, that we face other type of bottlenecks now. And it was problem with the custom to bring all the gene therapy, especially from Russia. It probably was our case more than for anyone else, because from the US, probably it would be easier for you to deliver it here. But in our case, all the connections should go from Russia, go through US to Honduras, because like all the flights, because Prospera custom is on the island, and you have to ship directly to the island, not to the mainland of Honduras, to avoid the problems, as I understand it now. And all the flights to the island, they go to the US from the US, and so to ship some Russian drug via US, it was an issue. We solved it. It's still kind of bottlenecks probably for Prospera and other company who will work here, the logistics and customs, but probably it will be solved when the government will change, local government will change here. So we managed to deliver it here only in December. So it took a really long time. And most of the times we spent on this delivery issue. And in December, we injected first human. It was our team members. So it took for us to start injecting humans here for preventive indication around 8 to 9 months. And probably, I think we broke the record that we just, it's the fastest way from starting the company to get to a human for preventive indication, the first thing. Another great milestone that we have done, I think, that it was one of our indications that we do. It's for prevention of hair loss with people who still have hair follicles on early stage, like I had 10 years ago. In my case, it's too late. But when people have just start losing their hair, they can use vascular endothelial growth factor gene therapy. And we did it, and it's actually we can consider it as we can counter this as the cosmetic use of the gene therapy, and it was the just cosmetic use of the gene therapy through the whole human history. So it's we reached this milestone as well, and I'm very proud of it. Yes. So what's else from the technical part of doing things here? Yeah, I think GARM doing great work. So everyone who is coming here, they should just partner with some local provider, clinical provider, not to to take care about it and focus on building the therapies. And just they're doing great job for us. From technical part, highly recommend it. And yeah, I think I answered all the questions from technical side. Or maybe I missed something. What do you think?
Amazing. You laid out the whole there. I think it's so also like valuable for the first listening and understanding. So I think that your experience and your action of the last year, I think, well, you calculated for future learners here. So I'm really, really excited that you made it all the way. I had this experience that 1 year you made it really amazing.
Thank you.
Do you have anything to add from your experience?
I would actually, certainly quite a lot, like our whole journey. So, yeah, from this side, maybe I would add that this gene therapy is focused on restoration of vascularization that declines with age. And currently we have this plasma therapy into indications for hair growth, for hair quality, improving hair quality, and for muscle oxygenation. It might influence also VO2 max, but we need to check it out. Moreover, it's a very local. It's like local therapy, so we administer it locally. So we don't expect these side effects that influence and happening on the systemic level. But actually, I consider this VGF, VGF gene is a very interesting and prospective gene for aging because it could influence all other organs. And we are currently working on another form of this therapy in the form of AAV, adeno-associated viruses, to deliver it already on the systemic level, but it's like more heavy and hard therapy that should be administered very carefully, and we need to conduct like more preclinical data to understand. But I believe that actually this gene is one of the buttons, one of the piano buttons that one mentioned, that we need to push in order to slow down aging process.
Right. Yeah. And this actually, not this gene therapy specifically, but targeting this gene on the mice study has shown one of the biggest lifespan extension on mice, on normally lived mice, and it's up to 50% when you just do it it's a systemic way.
Fantastic. Final question. What would you say to someone who is thinking about doing something here at Prospera, but thinking, isn't that risky with like the FDA and they might not like that or whatever? What would you say?
Yeah. So I think people think that it's risky, only when they are not here. As soon as they come here, they realize that talk to people here on land. And yeah, so I think the biggest, like the biggest decision that, the best decision that I have done about running this company is just come to Italia, and all the rest was just additional to it, right? So, and I think the first thing is to come, even at least for a week, right? You don't have to come for 2 months like we did, but you can come for a week for human enhancement summit, for example, and just talk to people here, like go to the GARM, like go to the lab here, like meet us, have lunch with us, and explore how it works. And regarding FDA, I mean, like I don't say that everyone should come here. Some people should stay within FDA process, and all those people, they still contribute a lot to the field, and it's important work. All the scientists, all those universities, all those biotechs, we built on the shoulders of those giants right here, and it's very important. It's not necessary everyone to come here, but who I think for people who want to accelerate, who just want to be on the edge of the field, and just to move faster and get things done faster. Probably the FDA is not the way so far. Maybe it will be reformed. We hope that it will be reformed, but yeah.
That's to everyone listening to this conversation, right? So we just trying something different in some ways, but in some ways, right, many of these things are necessary and good, especially when it comes to the safety side, doing many of the same things. And maybe we have more resources to invest in safety, sort of more agile, lean. And so I think that is a very important message, right? So doing things the FDA way is still for many companies the end game, and that's fine, right? So this you may be starting advantage. Maybe we can build it out more, right? So talk about other jurisdictions, also in the United States, fast track things under right legislation. So this is kind of the platform we want to build, right? So, and what I would say is, of course, it's not yet clear what the whole pathway is, right? So it's not out. This is started a year ago, but the risk profile can be like, it works and it makes you 10, 20 kind of tough. Compared to like a very high rate failure risk failure that you have to go the normal path. And to cover like some systematic flaws, like a combinatorial area. So like I'll just say, if you really care about actually solving longevity, we gotta find a way somehow, right?
Right. Yeah, I have a couple of things to add here, if you let me. There's the first thing that even for people who are looking for FDA, and want to go for the big markets, like if you go through FDA or EMA, you get to the huge markets, and it's like with Ozempic or things like that, you will make a lot of money. It's fine, but it's even in that case, it's easier to start on Prospera and up the scale there, because you get to you do risk yourself getting a clinical data very fast. And not waiting like while you spend hundreds of millions of dollars to understand on the second stage of clinical trial that your drug doesn't work. So you can do things faster here. And as soon as you do some clinical trials here, after that, from here, you already can scale it to the US and the UK, and you can keep collecting all this data, clinical data, for some additional indications and go back to the biggest market, but already de-risked yourself, and immediately clinical stage company will cost like I don't know, $1 billion, like hundreds of $1 million, just because you already know that your drug works on humans and it's safe on humans. It's very important. And the first thing, and the second very important thing that we really want more people to come. So far, we have 2 gene therapies approved on Thailand. It's one of our VGF, and the second is mini-circle polystatin. Some people are doing here some other type of experimental treatment, and like many people like here in Infinita are now thinking to start the things. But from my perspective, like it's not just a part of unlimited bio, but as an individual, I want to solve aging, right? And it's the main focus to us. And as I said before, that we need the dozens of therapies. I hope that it will be dozens, not hundreds. And we need that. And we need this bricks of the solution. Like VEGF is just one brick of the solution, one key button, right? And so we partner it, but we want to accumulate these cocktails or gene therapies. We for me, it's better to go through partnership, that someone brings this gene therapy to me and we just partner with them and do it together. As we did with, for example, with BioView, that we signed agreement with them like just before the Christmas to bring for their gene therapies to the island. So we aim to add VEGF, as I mentioned, it was just MVP. This year we aim to launch 5 more gene therapies here. And so we're bringing AV polystatin, AV Clota, AV PCGF1 alpha, AV HTOR, and we're thinking about BDNF. We're still not 100% sure about it. And it's just the second stage, but we want to get partnership with different people. I would like to get the partnership with Greg Fahy, for example, with his thymus rejuvenation protocol. We still, but he's doing things in the US. I would like to license it, for example, from him, or some other people who have other type of therapies to keep putting it to the cocktail and just do all these partnerships. Because the most important asset that we have is the speed, how fast we move. It's a real true asset of 21st century, the speed of the moving, and it's only possible to do through partnership. That I really want more people to come here and build the companies, biotech companies here, and partner with us to build the solution together.
Amazing. Ivan and Anna, I'm so proud to be working with you guys on this. Like, you've really been the prime example for helping us build what we want to build. Like, to me, it was kind of obvious to decide today, like years ago, when I saw many stuff, Prospera as a task. The best ones, so taking really the opportunity of this year to make it. So very proud to you guys this. Where can people find out about you, right? Or get in contact with you, or sort of take on some other offers if you want to take it better for yourself?
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to also say thank you to you, because from your support, not just because starting Vitalia and helping us, but you supported us all the way during this year, and your contribution really helped us to get this thing done. And you keep helping us. Thank you so much for that, and I look forward to working with you together on Solve Engaging, and we're always open to help you guys whatever it needed. As I mentioned, yeah, and it is ways to finance. It's unlimited.bio. It's our website. You can find me, Ivan Morgunov, on LinkedIn or on Twitter. Yeah, so Ivan at IVAN at unlimited.bio. It's my email. So any questions?
Anna, you want to say something too?
Yeah, I would say also that we appreciate a lot your help and your contribution. And for context and information, I suppose our site is the main one, and maybe it would be better just to write it down in description. So just it would be easier for people to click in.
We'll do that. Ivan, Anna, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nicholas.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us 5 stars in your favorite podcast app and consider subscribing to our Substack. I appreciate your support that makes this show possible. See you in the next one.